من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My respected viewers, standing before you is by name Muhammad Suleiman Muhammad, a staff of AL-INARAH Islamic Modern School, and inshallah today we are going to be having our subject, which is commerce, and the topic that we are going to be discussing on is types of profits, and the class is SS3 student, that is commercial class. So just like we are told, the topic is profits, types of profits. So inshallah, before we go into the types of profits, is going to be very good for us to start with the meaning of profits. So what is the meaning of profits? In commerce, profit is the excess of revenue, that is income, over expenses, that is cost, incurred in running a business. What does that mean? In a nutshell, the profit is the amount arrived at in a business after deducting the expenses. That is profit in a nutshell. So we have the types of profits. We have two major types of profits. Number one, we have the gross profits, and the second one is net profits. So what is gross profits? Gross profits is the profit arrived at before expenses are deducted. That is the expenses incurred in running a business. So before deducting it, the profit arrived at refers to gross profits. Then we have the net profits. The net profit simply refers to the profits, that is the amount arrived at after deducting the expenses. Inshallah, by the time we go to our calculation part, you get to understand more what is gross profit and net profits. So let's move on to the next thing, which is explanation of terms. We are going to take calculation of gross profit and net profit. So before we take that, it is very important for us to know what these terms mean. The first thing, we have the source. What are source? The source are amount that are arrived at. So inshallah, we are going to take explanation of some terms before going to the calculation of gross profit and net profit. So the first thing we have here, we have source. So source is the value of goods sold. That is source. The total value of the goods sold refers to source. And we have the opening stock. The opening stock is the value of goods at the beginning of the period. Let's say, for example, January 2020, just like we're going to have in our illustration. Then we have purchases. Purchases is the value or the goods bought for resale. That is goods that the business bought to resell. That is purchases. And we have carriage inward. The carriage inward is the cost in transporting the goods bought into the shop or to the business premises. That is carriage inward. Then we have closing stock. Is the value of goods at the end of the business period. That is closing stock. So inshallah, we are going to have illustration, that is work example on gross profit and net profits. So here is a question. Salama Enterprises Limited are the following details for the year ended 2020. We have source, which amounted to 50,000, opening stock 8,000, purchases 30,000 and carriage inward 2,000, closing stock 10,000 and expenses 5,000 naira. So what is required from you is to calculate A, the gross profit, B, the net profit. So here is the solution. So inshallah we are going to explain it bit by bit. So the first thing you are going to do is to draw up your ledger. Though we are going to use accounting formats. So this is a ledger, this T table, that is a ledger. So after drawing the ledger, you now identify the two sides. DR, this time for debits, and CR, which is credits. Then you now give the account title. Since the trading profit and loss account is used to look for gross profit, that is to calculate the gross profit and net profit. So the heading is going to be trading profit and loss account for the year ended 31st December 2020. So after writing the title of the account, then the next thing now, you now start posting the items. Then you go to the question. In our formats, the way it looks like, the first thing we are going to start with is opening stock. Then go to the question, where is the opening stock? Here is our opening stock, which amounted to 8,000 naira. Then you now write the 8,000 naira. You have two signs, naira signs, the first one and the second one. So the opening stock, you keep it at the second sign, the naira sign, which is 8,000 naira. There is it. The next thing is add purchases. You add your what? Purchases. How much is our purchases here in the question? 30,000 naira. Then you write it here in the first what? Naira sign. The next thing is add carriage inward. You add your carriage inward to the purchases. Normally, the carriage inward is added to the purchases. So you go to the question, where is your carriage inward? You have 2,000 naira. You now bring it here, 2,000 naira. You wrote a line. There is nothing to add again. Assuming in the question we have what we are going to add. Then you now add, or what you are going to less, you are going to now less before you calculate everything together. So since there's not anything to add, you now add up the carriage inward together with the purchases, which gives 32,000 naira. Here is the 32,000 naira. So this 32,000 naira, you add it to the purchases. The opening stock. You add it to what? The opening stock is going to give us 40,000 naira. So this 40,000 naira stand as what? Cost of goods available for sale. Then the next thing, you are going to less closing stock. You go to your question, your closing stock is 10,000 naira. You quickly come there, you write 10,000 naira. Don't forget, you are told to less. Then you now say 40,000 minus 10,000, you are going to have 30,000 naira. So that is going to stand for what? Cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold. So the next thing is the gross profit. So you don't know your gross profit yet till you determine what is your source. Then you go back to the other side, because the source is going to appear on the credit side. So where is our source in the question? Here is it, 50,000 naira. Then you now record your source as 50,000 naira. Because normally for you to determine your gross profit, you are going to, the formula is source minus cost of goods sold. Sales minus what? Cost of goods sold. And you have seen the way you are going to arrive at your cost of goods sold through these what? Calculations. So take note of that. So now let's calculate our gross profit. Since we said 50,000 naira is our source, then you are going to rule a line. You leave a space for the gross profit where you are going to write the gross profit, then you rule 2 lines under it. The same thing here. Then the 50,000 naira, which is source, you bring it to the line, you take it to the other side, the same thing. Then you now say this 50,000 naira, which is source, minus the cost of goods sold, which is 30,000 naira. You are going to arrive at 20,000 naira. So this is how we got this 20,000 naira. So when you reach here, you are done with the calculation of the gross profits by determining what? The gross profit, which is 20,000 naira. Then the next thing, this gross profit, you take it forward or down to the next account, which is profit and loss account. Because from here to here it is trading account, and anything after that is the profit and loss account. So we are going to look for our net profit now. Then the net profit, you bring down the gross profit, which is 20,000 naira. Then you go to the other side, expenses. What is your expenses? You go to the question, you have 5,000 naira, you bring the expenses here. The next thing will be net profits. So your net profit, you don't know it yet, let's assume. So for you to determine your net profit, you are going to say gross profits minus expenses. So here is our gross profit, which is 20,000 naira. You bring it here, you minus the expenses, which is 5,000 naira from it. What you arrive at is 15,000 naira. So the 15,000 naira is your net profit, which is this. So that is your what? Net profits. So this is how the calculation of net profit and the gross profit is carried out. Inshallah, for more details, we are going to see it in your notes, inshallah. God's willing. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.